The cost of setting up an entity is always going to be associated with paying legal fees, accounting fees, HR advisory fees. However, that is always underestimated in terms of the cost of maintaining an entity over the subsequent years. A lot of organizations do not take that into account when they are planning to set up an entity at the initial phases. It may cost 5, 10, 20,000 to set it up. The cost of maintaining the entity, which also runs into the thousands and also takes a lot of time and effort from a company's perspective, is grossly underestimated. When setting up entities, a lot of companies don't know that as long as you have a cost center sitting in another country, those costs will always be charged back to the HQ company via transfer pricing. And that typically comes to about 3 to 4% of the total payroll cost that you are running in the cost center. An EOR is designed to help companies employ people in foreign jurisdictions, and typically the cost should be less than 10% of your total payroll costs. So the EOR is there to help you mitigate the risks of setting up a legal entity in a foreign jurisdiction, as well as help you to employ the individuals and ensure that the individuals get access to pay slips, benefits, as well as local statutory obligations that they are required to make. An EOR solution, the transfer pricing does not affect the organization because that organization does not have a legal presence in the foreign jurisdiction, so it is a complete shield. It would typically take 2 to 3 months to set up the entity, complete the legal paperwork, as well as the state level statutory obligations and filings. And then another 2 to 3 months to set up a bank account to actually make payments to individuals. And EOR cuts all of that out because it will help you onboard a person in a foreign jurisdiction in less than a week because the paperwork has already been done. So it's just as simple as employing a person as you would in any country. The biggest risk in setting up your own legal entity is country risk. A country risk includes penalties for any delays in statutory contributions, fines for not making employment payments on time, as well as the legal exposure when it comes to any termination challenges that may arise from employing individuals in the market. So using an EOR helps you to defray that risk and shield you from all the obligations that a country may impose on a company. And in that sense, it may not be entirely cheaper, but it will help you to ensure that you do not need to come into contact with a foreign government. I think most organizations should avoid opening legal entities. For the last many, many years, companies have been thinking of that as their only option when it is not. An EOR is the best option when it comes to setting up a team in a foreign jurisdiction. Withdrawing from a market is one of the most painful experiences a company will ever face, simply because every government institution in a country will need to sign off on your company not having any obligations left in that market. And typically that takes 2 to 3 years, whether it's US, Germany, or India. And most companies that have gone through that process recognize the true value of an EOR because they have seen real pain.